If you're wondering why Tin Can is called Tin Can, this is not the video for you because I have no idea why. But if you're here because you're really confused what the heck this SCORM thing is, and why is there this tin can, and what do they have to do with e-learning, you're in the right place. We're going to talk about 4 attributes of SCORM, 4 attributes of Tin Can. We're actually going to talk about the precursor to both of these. And we're going to go through if you actually need them or not. There is an alternative. Welcome to the eLearning Simplified YouTube channel. My name is Johnny Havey and I'm one of the co-founders of eLearning Partners. And we created this channel to help you because there's confusing stuff out there related to e-learning. SCORM is confusing. Tin Can is confusing. So let's talk about SCORM and Tin Can. SCORM was created in 2001. Tin Can was created in 2013. So there are 12 years of technological differences here. So right off the bat, you can tell that SCORM doesn't do as much as Tin Can. Tin Can is from 2013. SCORM is from 2021. 2020, no, 2000, my God, 2001, that was a long time ago. Why the heck are we still even using this? Well, it's because this is the common language that people used to use and still some of the market uses in order to create a course and have it be able to live in multiple LMSs. Common language. Not as common now because we got Tin Can now and we got 17 other things, but it's still a thing and it's in the industry. What does SCORM stand for? It stands for shareable content object reference model. SCORM. That's what SCORM means. Do you understand what it stands for? I don't either. SCORM might be less confusing than shareable content object reference model. Don't fully understand? Well, I do, but I don't understand by reading this. So what SCORM does, like we said, it's a common language in e-learning. But SCORM was built for desktops first. So when SCORM came out, there was actually another set of standards and specifications in e-learning that it replaced. So it basically replaced another common e-learning language, quote unquote. The language, what I mean by language is standards and specifications for e-learning that you build your course in a specific way so that it can live in multiple LMSs. That's what SCORM is in a nutshell. That's what its precursor, AICC, which came out in the 90s, the early 90s. This was really the first set of standards and specifications when it came to e-learning. SCORM replaced it in 2001. SCORM is on, I think its 4th iteration since 2001, but the most recent iteration came out in 2004. So still like extremely antiquated. But basically SCORM was built as a standards and specifications specifically for desktop e-learning. So that means that when you create an e-learning program that's desktop focused, that only lives on a desktop computer or a laptop, and you're using the common language or common specifications, SCORM is what you would use, okay? But as you know, we all live in a mobile world now. So that is why people ended up creating Tin Can. We'll get there. But the next attribute of SCORM is it's desktop learning and it's online learning. And what I mean by that is you can't actually take a SCORM-based course and bring it offline. So no offline learning. So really where we're gonna get to today is Tin Can is significantly better than SCORM, but yet again, if you've watched other videos on our channel, it's all about a cost-benefit analysis in the end, and we'll talk about that at the end of this video. So what does no offline learning mean? That means that if your learners don't have access to the internet, they can't actually take your course and have the data collected related to that course. Because SCORM is all about collecting data about your learners while they're taking your e-learning program. So if you don't have online access to offline learning, it's not good. It's not a good place to be if you're using SCORM. And when would this be a problem? It'd be a problem when you have a learner, let's say you have an employee at a job site, they don't have internet access. Well, first of all, they're not going to be able to access your e-learning without their laptop anyway. So let's say they have their laptop. Okay, they brought it to the job site. Say you got your construction worker bringing their laptop to their job site. Doesn't sound like a great idea in the first place. But let's say they did that, and now let's say they don't have internet. Well, they can't access your program. You're not in a good place. So no offline access is not a good thing. The other thing with SCORM is an LMS is required. So you have to have an LMS in order for SCORM to work. For SCORM to work, it has to live inside of an LMS. Your course has to live inside of an LMS for SCORM to work. That might not sound like a problem because you've probably heard like all these different types of LMSs and whatnot, but there's multiple problems with that. The first one is that if you build SCORM and then you have an LMS that doesn't take SCORM, which is very common nowadays, you can't use it. So you built the course, now you can't use it. And the second problem is, let's say you built the course and you don't want to have an LMS. Well, you actually can't get anything out of SCORM. So that is a problem. So yeah, I'm saying attributes of SCORM. I'm just telling you what it doesn't do, because it's obvious what it does do. So what it does do is the standards and specifications about e-learning, course building, and specifically it's how you capture the data around your learners when they interact with your course. So the last piece is SCORM can handle media like videos and images and GIFs and such, but it can't handle a lot of it. You can only really have one piece of media going at one time. So you can't have like 5 videos on a screen and expect SCORM to operate normally. So you gotta be really careful about how much media you have on a module. So SCORM, as you can see, we didn't really even need to go through this. The second you heard it was from 2001 and the most up-to-date version was from 2004, that should have told you that it is antiquated. Enter Tin Can, which is also almost a decade old, by the way. But here's what Tin Can do. Tin Can. This is what it's going to do. This is what it can do. Okay. Tin Can is aware that learners are going to learn where they want to learn. So Tin Can's standards and specifications when it comes to e-learning is all about learners learning anywhere. Pretty blanket statement. Obviously, if we're going to look at that more technically, when learners are learning anywhere, so learning anywhere, this means that if they're on their phones and tablets and other just, devices that may not be a phone or a tablet, but still a learning device, Tin Can works for tracking the data. Learning anywhere, that's what Tin Can is built for. They were really thinking in 2013, they're like, Tin Can, we're not going to even just say phones and tablets. We're going to say learning anywhere. That was extremely smart. Well done phrasing it like that. In addition to learning anywhere, Tin Can also allows you to learn without online access. So you can have your entire course built out using the Tin Can standards and specifications, and offline access is possible. So now you have that construction worker who doesn't have their laptop on them, but they have their phone, they have something that they can use to learn anywhere, and they don't have internet access, but the entire course and everything they need is on their phone, so they're in good shape, offline access. The next point, Tin Can can actually be used independent of an LMS. So you can have your course built out in Tin Can with the Tin Can standards and specifications, and it can live on its own, doesn't need an LMS. So LMS independent. Doesn't need one. So the last point is Tin Can uses something called LRS, which means Learning Record Store. And what this is Tin Can automatically is storing the data of your learners interacting with the course to something called the Learning Record Store, just automatically. That's why it doesn't need an LMS. That's why it's LMS independent, is because of the LRS component. So that's Tin Can, that's SCORM. So why do these even exist? We talked about it a little bit at the beginning. They exist because in e-learning, if you're gonna have courses built out in one e-learning technology and you want to transfer them to another e-learning technology, and there's not a common language, there's no common standards and specifications, then you can't plug and play. They can't be interchangeable. You can't build out a whole e-learning program using one authoring tool or some other type of e-learning technology, or have it live in one LMS and then expect that it's going to work in another LMS without those standards. You need a common language from that perspective. Now, do you need this? The answer is you need to do a cost-benefit analysis to decide if it is worthwhile for you to even think about SCORM or Tin Can. Now, SCORM, like we said, is pretty outdated at this point. It's still widely used, but it's outdated. So you need to look at a cost-benefit analysis. Because you may not even need either one of these. Now, if you're planning on building out courses that you want to live in other people's LMSs, then okay, consider Tin Can specifications, consider SCORM specifications, consider LMSs that like these types of standards and specifications, okay? Pick an authoring tool that will do this. But if you don't really care about your course being able to live in someone else's LMS because you have an internal LMS and that's really the only place you want your course to live, and you're selling your course as your e-learning program, but people are going to access it using your technology, then you may not need this. Okay? And you can actually save a ton of money staying away from both of these. They have their uses, but they're not necessary. There are LMSs out there that cost less than $200 a month that do everything you need for your e-learning program, and some. They do even more. So if you're trying to sell a course to your learners, you probably want an e-learning technology that does more than just hosting and delivering the course to your learners. You need something that's going to help you sell it as well. And there are platforms out there. There are platforms that have amazing mobile experiences, but they don't have as great of a desktop experience because they're focused on mobile learners first. And you can get those for less than $200 a month. Now, if you want a very customized system, a very customized course, then yeah, you're probably looking at using these standards and specifically moving towards Tin Can. But even if Tin can do what you want, does that mean that the cost-benefit analysis shows that it is worth the investment to do what you want when you can get the same or more done because of your needs, because of your learners' needs with a different product? Now, if you want to learn more about what your learners need and what their biggest challenges are, how to define who your learners are so that you can just stop worrying about what SCORM is, Tin Can is, AICC, because these don't really matter, then we recommend signing up for our free masterclass. There's a link right below the video in the video description. you will get instant access. All you have to do is sign up. You'll get free and instant access to the masterclass. In the masterclass, we go through how to define your learners, how to define the value in your program to your learners, and then we give you a step-by-step process of what to do next so you can build out your entire e-learning program. Part of that is how to choose the technology, how to choose if you want SCORM or Tin Can. Probably don't need either one, depending on who your learners are. So sign up for that. You will get instant access, and really, the masterclass is all about helping you guarantee the success of your e-learning program or online course every time you build one. Now, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so that you know when we put out another video. We'll see you in the next one.